Your Honor, could I approach and have something marked?
Yes. Is that gonna be Mark Peoples too?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think so. Agent Bauer, do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you tell the court what it is?
It is a copy of Ms. Lumen's 2022 U.S. individual and state tax return from Liberty Tax.
Your Honor, I've sent counsel a copy of these records along with the 90211 certification, so I would move for the admission of those records.
Any objection?
Judge, no objection for exam.
Peoples two is admitted.
Thank you. Agent Bowers, in that tax return for 2022, did Ms. Lumen report income?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Approximately how much?
Around 66,000.
That approach, Judge?
You may,
And Agent Bauer, was part of this income relating to a company called Total Defense?
Yes, it was.
Judge, this is the last one.
okay, we'll mark that Peoples three.
Yes, thank you.
Some.
Agent Bauer, I'm handing you what's been marked People's 3. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can you tell the court what it is?
That is a LARA filing document for the Business Total Defense LLC.
Who does it list as a registered agent?
Ms. Lumen.
And Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Proposed 3 under 9024, it being a public document that bears a seal of the state of Michigan or an agency, which would be law.
Any objection?
No.
Peoples three is admitted.
Judge, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Cross?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, you are an investigator with the OIG, correct?
Yes, I am.
How long have you held your current position?
5 years going on 6 years in March.
Understood. And it's my understanding, based on your testimony, that generally speaking, you are responsible for conducting investigations as it relates to welfare fraud, correct?
Yes, I am.
And obviously, in order to do your job and determine whether or not fraud has, in your opinion, been committed, you need to be familiar with definitions of things such as income, correct?
Generally speaking, yes.
Okay. Well, an individual has to qualify to receive assistance benefits, right?
Yes.
And in order to qualify, an individual must not exceed a set income level. Fair?
Correct.
So income is something that you consider each and every time you are investigating an allegation of fraud. Correct?
Most of the time.
Okay. And thus you need to know what in fact constitutes countable income. Correct?
Correct.
You would agree with me that income is money actually received by a person. Fair?
In terms of the department, they have different standards in terms of self-employment, general income. So if you were working for Ford Motor Company, unearned income, stuff of that nature. So without the actual purchase policy manual, specifically relating to self-employment income, I cannot give you a yes or no answer to that.
Okay. So you are not, at this point in time, off the cuff, familiar with every category of potential income. Correct?
I review policy manuals in terms of income when I am reviewing cases for potential allegations of welfare fraud.
Okay. Would you agree with the general statement that income is money that an individual actually has access to or has been provided?
Again, in general, with self-employment income, so for example, depending on what self-employment is categorized, so a sole proprietor, partnership, depending on how it is categorized, the department budgets that income differently. So for example, sole proprietorship, they would take like 15% of that countable income, they would look at the gross receipts of sales and stuff of that nature. So,
Understood. Well, let me ask the question a different way.
Okay.
Obviously, assistance benefits, including food assistance benefits, provide individuals with money to purchase food, correct?
correct.
If an individual, let's say, is involved with a business but receives no payments, wages, salary, or earning, you would agree with me they don't receive money, correct? Yes?
Yes.
And thus they don't have money available or accessible to them to purchase food.
If that was the case.
Understood. Now, you indicated that you conducted an investigation as it relates to Ms. Lumen, correct?
Yes, I did.
And your investigation of this matter commenced with a referral you received in November of 2023, correct?
That is correct.
Who sent you this referral?
The data analytical unit
Okay,
in the Michigan Office of Inspector General.
and can you tell me a little bit about the data analytical unit? And-
Yes,
Right.
so for example, the data analytical unit will run quarterly checks or bi-yearly checks for certain things such as parents matches, which is legal assistance cases. They have an agreement with the Michigan Treasury Office where they will review adjusted gross income. And then they will make a referral to actual agents to investigate those referrals further.
Understood. Do you know, based on your personal knowledge, how Ms. Lumen came to the attention of that office?
Her adjusted gross income was higher than what was being budgeted onto her face.
Okay, understood, meaning, her tax returns were reviewed. Fair?
Yes, sir.
And it did not match the Bridges application or redetermination, correct?
That is correct.
You provided testimony regarding the redeterminations you claim Ms. Lumen did.
Yes,
You recall that? Redeterminations are completed utilizing a computer, correct?
or you can complete them in person.
Understood. In this case, they were completed utilizing a computer, fair?
That's correct.
And no one from your office was present at the time the redetermination form was completed, fair?
Yes.
Meaning it was completed remotely and submitted, right?
Correct.
You did not personally observe Ms. Lumen complete the redetermination forms that you provided testimony regarding and which have been admitted into evidence, correct?
No, I did not.
To your knowledge, did any other agent of the government observe Ms. Lumen complete those applications, or excuse me, redeterminations?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did any other agents from your office or the government observe Ms. Lumen complete redetermination?
No one from my office, and I do not believe it.
Okay. Now, the redetermination form that was completed, obviously, you cannot testify that Ms. Lumen in fact completed it. Fair?
Yes.
You don't know who may have completed it, correct?
Well, I would add, she completed interviews with the department after,
I understand. I didn't ask about interviews. The redetermination form. You did not observe her complete. Right? You do not have personal knowledge establishing that she in fact completed it, correct?
during our interview, she did not dispute any sort of nature of not receiving benefits or completing any applications, so I have no reason to not believe that she is not the individual completing any applications or redeterminations or interviews with the department.
Right, you have no reason to believe it, you don't have actual knowledge. Fair?
Yes.
Now, the redetermination form has a number of categories within it. Fair?
Yes, it does.
One of the categories relates to financial circumstances, correct?
Yes, it does.
And it asks individuals if they are employed, correct?
Yes, it does.
And in this case, the redetermination form indicated that Ms. Lumen was not employed, correct?
Yes.
You would agree with me that the redetermination form does not include a definition of employment within it, correct?
She would be notified in a rights and response.
I'm sorry, my question was, does the form include a definition of employment?
No, it does not.
There is a section which indicates, under the financial title, does your household have any additional income, right?
Yes.
You would agree with me that the redetermination form does not define what constitutes income, correct?
Yes.
And as you've already indicated, the concept of income when it comes to your department is quite complex.
I would not call it complex in terms of what the client is supposed to report based on their rights and responsibilities and what is outlined to them, specifically during interviews when an eligibility specialist will review those rights and responsibilities and income.
Sure, but if an individual isn't familiar with, let's say, legal concepts or financial concepts, it can be difficult to determine what constitutes income. Do you agree with that?
I would.
Okay.
I'm sorry, would you say I would not?
I would not.
On the redetermination form, does it indicate that income is money actually received by you?
I'm sorry, can you state that again?
On the redetermination form, it does not indicate that money, or excuse me, income is money actually received by you, meaning the person that completes the form.
That would be correct. Although it does ask for household income.
Sure, with no definition. Now, throughout the course of your investigation, you actually obtained tax returns, correct?
Yes, I did.
And I'm assuming after you obtained those tax returns, you reviewed them, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you're familiar with the entirety of those tax returns, meaning for 2022 and 2023.
The relevant pages, yes,
What are the relevant pages in your opinion?
would be the business income.
Meaning the schedule that is attached to the individual tax return, correct?
Correct.
The schedule that is titled qualified business income, correct?
Yes.
Do you know what the definition of qualified business income is under federal law?
I do not.
Do you know what qualified business income, as defined under federal law, is different from income under your office's guidelines?
I'm not aware.
Does your office have a policy relating to Schedule C, meaning as part of a tax return for qualified business income?
Yes, they do.
Specifically, as it relates to qualified business income?
To self-employment income and tax returns in general, yes, there is a section, Bridges manual policy.
Okay. You would agree with me, qualified business income is a tax classification, fair?
Yes.
You would agree that qualified business income does not require money to actually be paid to the taxpayer that's filing the Schedule C.
I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware that business can report qualified business income even if an individual affiliated with that business does not receive a single dollar from the business operation?
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear your answer. Hang on one sec. We got a train going by here. I did not hear your answer to that last question.
I was going to say yes in the sense that gross receipts of sale or in terms of her partnership with Total Defense LLC is total income that is listed on that tax return, which was utilized to budget, which she failed to report.
So your answer is yes. A business can report qualified business income, notwithstanding the fact that someone affiliated with the business gets $0 directly.
I am unsure on that.
Okay. Do you know if qualified business income can simply be retained by the business for purposes of operation?
I'm not aware of that either.
If the business generates income and that income is exclusively used to pay for the operations of that business, is it income under MDHHS guidelines?
I believe it would be.
Do you know?
I would have to review the policy manual.
So you don't know. Fair?
I would say that's fair at this moment.
It's my understanding you obtained the relevant tax returns from Liberty Tax Service, correct?
That is correct.
And you were provided with those records by an individual named Sam Catone.
For 2021 and 2022.
Did you ever speak with Mr. Catone?
Over email and I believe twice over the phone.
Did you ever interview him regarding the information that was contained in the tax returns?
No, I did not.
Okay. You are aware that he is the tax preparer, correct?
Yes.
Meaning he is the one who prepared the documents that you reviewed and ultimately concluded indicated qualified business income, right?
Correct.
Since you never interviewed him, you never determined where he received the information that he included in the tax returns, correct?
Correct.
Since you reviewed the records, you are aware that at the end of the returns, the tax preparer makes some attestations regarding what's contained in the records, right?
Yes.
And one of those assertions by the tax preparer is that he received information from a number of sources, correct?
I don't believe, did it state a number of sources at the end?
I'm asking you generally, I'm not reading verbatim, but the affirmation at the end of the return that is completed by the preparer, you reviewed it, right?
Yes, I did.
And you are aware.
This courtroom moment wasn't loud, but it was intense, because this case was all about one question. What is the truth? An investigator took the stand, confident, detailed, and ready to explain everything. According to the records, the defendant had reported no income, but the evidence told a different story. Tax documents showed over $60,000 linked to a business, and that number changed everything. Because if that income was real, then the benefits received should never have been approved. But then the defense stepped in, and everything started to shift. The questions became sharper, more precise, more uncomfortable. Do you actually know if she received that money? Silence, because the answer wasn't clear. The investigator admitted there was no direct proof that the money ever reached her. No bank records, no confirmed payments, no clear evidence of cash in her hands. And suddenly, the case wasn't so simple anymore. Then came another critical point. Definition. What does income actually mean? The form she filled out never clearly explained it. No detailed definition. No clear guidance. And even the investigator admitted the rules could be complicated. So now the question changed. Was this fraud or confusion? Did she lie or did she misunderstand? Because in court, intent matters. Not just what happened, but what someone knew. The defense pushed harder. You don't know if she understood the rules. You don't know if she reviewed the documents. You don't know if she even received the money. One by one, doubts were raised, and for a moment, it felt like the case might fall apart. But then, the judge stepped in. Calm, focused, decisive. I've heard enough. Because at this stage, the court isn't deciding guilt. It's deciding if there's enough to move forward. And in the judge's eyes, there was. The ruling came quickly. There was probable cause. The case would continue. And just like that, everything changed again. Because now, this wasn't just an argument. It was a real trial ahead, where the truth would finally be tested. And as the courtroom cleared, one thing was clear. Sometimes, a case isn't about what's obvious. It's about what can be proven.
Received an amount in excess of $60,000 from Total Defense LLC.
I cannot.
Do you know how many individuals are affiliated with Total Defense LLC?
Based on Lara filing, she's a resident agent, so
Do you know what a resident agent is?
she's just the individual listed as the individual that has records, information such as that.
Okay.
She's not listed on the articles of the organization, but when I spoke with her during the interview, she indicated that she went through LegalZoom to incorporate the business, which matches up with the articles of the corporation.
Okay. Obviously, you have never seen her perform any work for the LLC, correct?
That is correct.
You have no information indicating she ever received wages or a salary from the LLC, correct?
Other than her tax return file.
Well, that's qualified business income, not distributions. Fair?
That is fair.
So nothing throughout the course of your investigation directly established that she received $1 of income actually from Total Defense LLC.
Yes.
Throughout the course of your investigation, were you able to determine whether or not the qualified business income for the LLC in question was simply used for operating expenses for that business?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, throughout the course of your investigation, did you ever determine whether or not the qualified business income that was listed for Total Defense LLC was simply utilized to pay expenses or operate that business?
I did not verify if it was utilized for expenses.
Now, during your investigation, you did reach out to Ms. Lumen, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you spoke with her regarding this matter, correct?
Yes, I did.
You would agree with me that she specifically informed you that she had,
Objection, Your Honor, that would be hearsay.
but he has testified repeatedly to what Ms. Lumen allegedly stated during the interview. I think the door's open and I have a right to follow up.
And
That-
I acknowledge what
No,
I know.
no, sustained.
Thank you. Did you determine whether or not Ms. Lumen reviewed the tax returns that were filed on her behalf by the Liberty Tax Service?
She verified that she was.
Judge, I'm gonna object to hearsay at this point.
Any response? Sustained.
I'll ask the same question, but I'm asking that you don't respond by stating what someone else said. Do you have any, actually strike that. Did Ms. Lumen, based on your review of the tax returns, actually sign her tax return?
There is no signature from her, but there is a signature pin number indicating that she did sign the document.
No, indicating that the tax preparer did in fact have authorization to submit on her behalf. Correct?
Yes,
But obviously you have no personal knowledge as to whether she reviewed that document for accuracy, correct?
correct.
If she was personally aware or had actual knowledge of the qualified business income that is listed on the return, correct?
Yes,
If she knew that qualified business income as listed on a Schedule C from a tax return was the same thing as income under your department policies,
I would believe she would be aware that it is.
you wouldn't believe that. You do not know. Fair?
Correct.
Thus, you cannot indicate whether or not, when she checked no income on the redetermination form, whether she knew that qualified business income was in fact income.
Yes,
And thus, whether or not her checking no in the redetermination form was not a truthful statement. Correct?
no, I would not agree with that, based on her rights and responsibilities and her being explained income.
You didn't explain it to her, right?
I did not, that is correct.
You were not present at the time anyone allegedly may have, if ever, explained it to her, correct?
It is indicated they would explain to her.
I understand, you were not present, right?
Correct.
So all of the testimony you just provided, meaning her being advised of rights and responsibilities, that's based on hearsay, meaning what third parties allegedly informed you of.
I would say no, just based on the rights and responsibilities appear at the end of applications. There's also a notice under redeterminations that indicate penalties for providing incorrect information. Again, during interviews, the department will review the rights and responsibilities with the client.
Give me 1 second, please. I'm sorry, Ms. Barker.
No, you're okay, Jeff. Sir, you indicated the rights and responsibilities are listed at the conclusion of the predetermination form, right?
Not the full rights and responsibilities.
Okay, well, there's a rights and responsibilities section, correct?
They come in a packet, yes.
No, I'm asking you on the redetermination form, is there a rights and responsibilities section?
No, there is not.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
You may.
Thank you.
What do you have there? Can you identify that, please?
I'm not sure what exhibit this was. You
If you-
submitted them in bulk.
It'd be one, it's a part of the redetermination forms. Oh,
Yes.
so part of people's one, Judge.
Okay, can you tell me what's at the top of that, please?
It indicates an assistance application, so an MDHHS 1171.
Okay,
This is not a redetermination.
So on the assistance application, which is the initial step, there is a quote unquote rights and responsibilities section, correct?
That is correct.
And you would agree with me that that does not indicate or define what income is, correct?
That is correct.
And on the redetermination, the same exact rights and responsibilities statement is included. Fair?
Fair.
Thus, on the redetermination form, it does not indicate under rights and responsibilities what constitutes income and what does not.
So when you completed,
Hold on the redetermination form, does it indicate what constitutes income under rights and responsibilities?
no, it does not.
So nothing on the forms that Ms. Lumen allegedly completed and submitted to your department, is there any indication as to what the actual definition of income consists of.
I would request to review I believe it was Exhibit 1, the application. I believe there is a section that specifically asks for self-employment income.
I asked you if it defines.
All right, but he's entitled to look at the document. Do you have the document, counsel?
Well, Judge, I have the part that I admitted. There's obviously a larger section. You want to look at the bigger
It
section?
would just be under income, so it would just be one of the pages.
Okay, well, here, let me approach Judge. This is.
And you can hand him that and you take your time looking through it and then you can answer the question.
Okay. So I would just like to note that under the income section, it does specifically ask about household self-employment. That employment seen on her 2022 and 2023 tax returns would constitute self-employment.
Self-employment requires an individual to actually work for a company, right?
Correct.
Perform work in exchange for monetary compensation. Fair?
Yes.
You've already indicated that you never determined through your investigation whether or not Ms. Lumen actually performed work for Total Defense LLC and received actual compensation, meaning money in hand from the business, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that the application and or redetermination form simply asks, is anyone in your household self-employed, right?
Correct.
Neither form defines what amounts to or constitutes self-employment or what makes an individual self-employed, fair?
I think as an individual, you have an awareness of what is self-employment, especially based on the Lara records, the fact that she's associated with the business.
So she's a registered agent. Right? That's it.
Correct.
And I asked you this earlier, but you'd agree with me that a registered agent can simply be someone that accepts, let's say, service on behalf of an LLC or other business entity, right?
They could.
That doesn't mean they work for the entity officially, meaning provide services in exchange for money, correct?
I suppose.
So just to get a clear answer, it doesn't define self-employment or what it means to be self-employed, correct?
Not on the application.
And it also does not provide any information regarding what constitutes income and what doesn't. Fair?
That would be fair.
Thank you. No further questions.
Redirect?
Yes, sir. Let me go back. Agent Bowers, as part of your investigation, did you run a lien check on Miss Lumen?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did a photograph come up with respect to Miss Lumen of records?
Yes, it did.
Is the person that you identify as Miss Lumen do a lien check present in the court today?
Yes, she is.
Okay, is she sitting at defense counsel table?
Yes, she is.
Okay, but not the one questioning you?
No.
Okay, Judge, for the record, I'd like the defendant's identification to be
The
noted.
record should so reflect.
Thank you. Agent Bowers, when somebody begins the application process for FAT benefits, you said they had an interview, is that correct?
That is correct.
Generally, what is explained to them during that interview?
But I'm just gonna object, it's not relevant. He didn't conduct the interview. He can't attest whether or not the same statements were allegedly made to Miss Lumen at any point in
I'm
time.
gonna ask that you lay more foundation. I'm gonna sustain that.
Thank you.
Agent Bowers, when somebody applies for FAT benefits, what's the process in which they go? How do they work?
So after the department receives the application for assistance, they would then schedule a interview with the client. So they would contact the client, send them notice for an interview.
The client being the person who's applied for benefits.
Correct.
Do those interviews take place in person, over the phone, sometimes both?
Sometimes both. It will be indicated on the interview guide, whether it was conducted over the phone or in person.
And as part of the larger part of the Bridges records, Are there records of Ms. Lubin being interviewed?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Does somebody get FAP benefits if they've never been interviewed?
They should not.
Generally, what is discussed during an interview for someone who's applied for benefits?
Judge, I'm just gonna advance the same objection. I heard your ruling. I understand he's laid a little bit more of a foundation, but I don't believe this to be relevant for purposes of the hearing because it has no direct relationship to it.
How about, is there a policy or procedure employed by agents in interviewing, FAP, applicants?
So my interview process would be slightly different than the department's interview process. So the department, they will request personal identifiable information such as social security number, date of birth, home address, information that in general a client should be the only individual that would have access to or be knowledgeable of. And I believe on the interview guides in the exhibits, it would indicate those questions were asked.
And I guess to put a finer point on it, you said there are roles and responsibilities that somebody has if they're going to receive FAP benefits. Is that correct?
That is,
What are some of those roles and responsibilities as it relates to income?
so again, the client would be made aware that that is something the department needs to know based on their applications. The interviews, they are directly asked, is there any self-employment? Is there any general income such as if you were employed with a grocery store? Or if you had unearned income such as disability income or unemployment benefits? The rights and responsibilities, the big thing regarding those is it's a large packet and it dictates some certain policies in terms of what the client is required to do. In this case, what is relevant is her failing to report her change in income to the department, and that would be Total Defense LLC.
The records that you received from Liberty, there are a number of different things in here that council referred to. But I think the fourth page that entitled U.S. individual income tax.
Is that people's one?
No, Judge, I'm sorry, this is People's 2.
Okay.
It's entitled U.S. individual income tax return. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And on this form, I'm just going to hang up here for a second. On this form, her income, other income from Schedule 1, line 10, is that $66,775?
Yes, it is.
And that amount, or any amount, was not reported in her application in 2022. Is that right?
That's correct.
And just to make clear, in 2022, from January 1 to December 31, do you know exactly how much in benefits Ms. Lumen received?
So based on a household of, I believe, 4 or 5, depending on how many children she reported as being in her household, I believe she was making well over 800 in food assistance program benefits.
800 per month?
That is correct.
Agent Bowers, is the exact amount written in your report?
It would not be, but no, it would not be. It would be the exhibit right before the overissuance budget in the report where it indicates she received FAP benefits.
Judge, can I approach? That number right here.
What are you referring to?
Okay, Judge, I'm asking about his report. So let me ask this question again.
What exhibit is that?
It's not an exhibit, Judge. I'm gonna refresh his recollection with it.
Okay.
Do you recall indicating how much she received easy for me to say, how much she was over issued in benefits during the year of 2022?
Yes,
Okay. Is that the number? Do you remember how much that was?
a little over 13,000.
Okay. That's how much she received in FAP benefits that she was not qualified for because of the income she did not report. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Nothing else to say.
Any other questions?
Sir, the prosecution asked you about the defendant's individual tax. You recall that, right?
Yes,
And he directed your attention to additional income, correct?
yes,
And it listed $66,775, correct?
yes, it did.
And you reviewed the document, you are aware that that is what is listed on the Schedule C, meaning qualified business income.
Yes, it is.
And I think I asked you this, I'm not sure if I did, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but you do not know whether there is a difference between qualified business income and income as defined by your department.
I'm not aware of this stuff.
You provided testimony indicating that generally speaking, when someone applies for benefits or assistance, they are provided with materials, right?
Prior to signing their name, they are offered the rights and responsibilities and are required to review them prior to signature.
Okay. Like anything you sign, read thoroughly before signing, correct?
Yes,
You have no personal knowledge as to whether or not this woman actually reviewed the records, documentation, and or information that was allegedly, if ever, provided to her, correct?
she signed the document, so I would be under the understanding that she reviewed it as required.
That's your understanding. Do you have knowledge establishing that she in fact reviewed it?
Well, that's not an issue with the department.
Can you just answer the question, please, sir?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Throughout your investigation, you would agree, you never determined whether or not Ms. Lumen was directly familiar with the entirety of the definition of income established by your department.
You know, we have covered this, haven't we? I mean, I think he said it multiple times. I mean, if you don't feel like you've hammered in the point, you can continue, but I think he certainly has acknowledged that at least 3 times.
I was hoping to receive a direct answer to that question. He's provided a.
Go ahead and answer the question, sir.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Throughout your investigation, you would agree with me that you were unable to determine whether or not Ms. Lumen had actual knowledge of the entirety of the definition of income provided by your department.
I would say yes, based on the interviews, but again, I'm under the belief, based on policy and all that, that the department would make her aware of what needs to be reported in terms of income.
Sure, the department would attempt to make someone aware, right?
Correct.
But you do not know, and you could not determine whether or not she actually understood what the definition of income established by your department was.
I suppose.
No further questions.
You can step down, sir. Thank you. Any other witnesses?
No,
People move to bind over on count 1.
I do, Judge.
Any response, Ms. Barkovic? You agree this is a fact question, do you not?
Well, Judge, I actually don't agree with that. I don't think that there has been a showing that the defendant engaged in intentional and knowing fraudulent conduct here and made actual fraudulent misrepresentations. You heard the investigator testify that there is no definition of income listed on the application or redetermination. I understand they have a generalized policy as it relates to applicants receiving information from the department. And I know that this isn't a matter of record, but I have thoroughly reviewed all of the policy and procedure manuals from the MDHHS. And it is, in fact, extremely confusing. There is a long list. I think the manual on income is about 100 pages, if I'm not wrong. It's extensive. It lists in generalized terms what may constitute income. It defines income as money or remuneration received by an individual for services performed. That is the general definition of income, and there's no indication of that on this record. Furthermore, there's no indication that Ms. Lumen in fact received any money from the operation of this business. I think that's clearly established by the testimony of the investigator. And thus, when she checks the box on the form that says no income, it may have in fact been true. The people at this exam are required to establish that she intentionally and knowingly made a false statement in order to receive benefits or engaged in some fraud to receive benefits, and they have not done that on this record.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm asking that you dismiss the remaining count of welfare problems.
So,
Judge, I have no response. People still need to find over, well, I take it back. I'll make a very quick response. Judge, the agent testified that when someone applies for FAT benefits, there is an interview process. They are given roles and responsibilities. They are told what they are responsible for or not. Ms. Lumen has indicated in all of these forms that she understood that she would follow the rules. The rules are reporting of income, and based on her income tax, it appeared that she did not do so by a probable cause standard. I think.
yeah, I don't think I need to hear any more. I think there's clearly enough here for a factual issue, factual determination. Defendant is bound over on count one. Again, I'll just state for the record, the prosecutor moved to dismiss count two. Count two was dismissed. Court finds probable cause to believe the crime of welfare fraud over $500 was committed and that the defendant probably committed the crime. I'm going to go ahead and bind the defendant over. If you'll just wait with all the Christmas holidays, I need to figure out what date this AOI is going to be.
Thank you.
Can you, jeez. I've been a little. I just set one yesterday for January the 8th. We've got a little luncheon going on down there.
Sure.
I'm gonna make it January the 8th at 9. Ms. Barkovic, I'm gonna ask you to go down there and just double check, and you too, Mr. Kessel. But I'm gonna put it for January the 8th at 9, and I wish both of you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And enjoy your time off. I hope you get a few days. But do double check and make sure that's